nasty.
Welcome back, guys. It's your boy, Chuck Nasty on Fantasy Football. It is week 17, so hopefully a ton of you guys are bringing home your championships in your respective leagues, and you secured the bag. If you were like me, however, you were playing in 5 championships, 4 of which was playing against Saquon Barkley, or a combination of Mark Andrews and the Indianapolis Colts defense. My biggest league, I put up 155 in PPR. I felt pretty good about it until my opponent put up 198. Unlucky. Not a whole lot you could do, but I finished with 4 second places and 1 first place this year. Secured the bag, made a little over 4K. It was a decent year. I mean, we made some money. We had fun doing it. But more importantly, we got into the YouTube stuff, which is releasing content that you guys can use in your leagues every single week. So, some of you guys are still going. I personally don't know too many people that play in Week 17 championship games, but I've already had a couple people DM me on Twitter. So let's get right into the streaming defense options for Week 17. Looking back at Week 16, we had 3 picks. The Denver Broncos, the Indianapolis Colts, and the desperation pick in the Washington Redskins. The first pick was the Denver Broncos, who finished with 4 sacks, 0 interceptions, which was pretty disappointing because I was so confident that David Blau was going to throw a pick that game. The only thing that prevented Denver from scoring more points was the lack of turnovers. They finished with 5 points total. Not super thrilled about it. They had plenty of upside. It could have been a lot better for them. Our second pick was the Indianapolis Colts, who had 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 6 points allowed versus the 20 implied points that Vegas had initially projected, and 2 kick return touchdowns for a solid 30 points. This is why you watch the video, because picks like this can be the difference between you winning a championship and you losing the championship. Now, we obviously can't hit these all the time, and it's unfortunate that my opponent picked up Indianapolis's as a higher waiver than I was, so that I couldn't even get him even if I wanted to. I'm wondering if they watched the video last week. It's definitely possible, but either way, I hope you guys started Indy's D. The third pick was the Washington Redskins, in which I said was a desperation pick and shouldn't be used unless there's a better option. It was not a good option. 1 sack, no interceptions, gave up 41 points total to the New York Giants and finished minus 1 point. So there you have it. Hopefully you had one of the top 2 options. The Broncos, man, I was just so excited. I thought they had potential to have such a better week than they actually had, but it's all good either way. Let's get into the top streaming options for Week 17 to help you guys if you are in a 2-week final or if you're still playing in Week 17. Packers. Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. Vegas says there's a 43-point total and a minus 12.5 point favorite to the Green Bay Packers, which puts an implied total of the Lions scoring under 16 points. So we like that a lot. Anytime you have a third-string QB in David Blau under center, there's a higher probability he's going to throw an interception. It didn't happen against Denver last week, which would mean that it should happen this week because it should have happened last week. So I definitely think that this is a good pick. This is probably the top option this week. The Packers are trying to make sure that they can get a higher seed in the playoffs. They've gone back and forth with the Saints, and they're basically determining who's going to get the 2 and the 3 seed. So this is an important game for them. And to the Lions, it doesn't mean anything at all. So would definitely play the Packers D as a top option this week. Second option would be the Dallas Cowboys. 45.5 point over under and a minus 10.5 point line for Dallas, which implies that the Redskins are going to score under 17 points this week. That's a good point total for any team with a defense. Anytime Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum are the QBs that are under center, there's a higher probability that one of those guys is going to create a turnover. You're going to get some extra points off it. So this should be a pretty good one. I'm thinking it's going to be above average on sacks as well as interceptions. Puts them as kind of my second option behind the Packers this week. And the third option I have is the lowest point total this week is the Jets against the Bills. They're probably available on your waiver. This one is not as high of an option as the other ones, but 36.5 point total point score is what Vegas is projecting, and a -1.5 point line for the Bills, which is basically projecting 19 or less points as an implied point total for the Bills to score. So the Jets just have to get a sack or two and an interception, and they're going to have a good week. It should be good. The Bills are still playing for a playoff seed. The Jets are not. So this is kind of a tough scenario. You don't want to bet on too many teams that don't have a lot to play for, because it could just go sideways and they say, oh yeah, we're going to put our second stringers in because it doesn't matter anymore, or whatever the deal is. So you'll see that a lot in Week 17, which is why I don't like playing in leagues that include Week 17. And I would definitely prefer to have the Packers or the Lions over the Jets. But if you need a third option, that would be a decent one. And a defense that I probably wouldn't play this week would be the Chicago Bears on the road in the Dome against the Vikings. So, the Bears have been pretty good on defense like the first 5 or 6 weeks, but then it's drastically fallen off, and Vegas is saying that the implied point total for the Vikings is going to be over 24 points, which means that they're automatically going to be a little further behind the 8 ball because they're projected to give up so many points. So if they don't create a turnover and they don't have 3 or 4 sacks, it's really not going to be a great game for the Bears defense. I would probably sit them this week. So that's what I have for you guys this week. As we get into the end of the season here, we're going into the last week. I'll start getting into some bold predictions for Super Bowl, for offseason. I'm going to continue to release content to you guys every single week, so make sure you ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. We'll be working on draft kits for 2020. We're going to be reviewing 2019 season stats on where players ended up versus where they were drafted. And we're going to be looking ahead at some Super Bowl futures that I want to take for next year. As you guys know, I have the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks are my 2 primary dark horses this year for the Super Bowl. I also have the Texans, and then I took a couple of hedges just to make sure that even if the 49ers or the Saints win, that I'm not losing money. So the only teams that can really ruin my experience right now are going to be the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Packers. But the favorite and the best odds that I got when I placed my bets in August was the 45-1 odds on the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl, and then the 25-1 on Lamar Jackson to win the MVP. So those are both looking pretty good. I want you guys to make money with me, so this is stuff that I want to share with you guys. Obviously, you're not betting against me. We're on the same team. We're betting against Vegas and everything else, and I want you to take your buddies' money in your home leagues and stuff too. So subscribe to the channel. We're going to go over tips and tricks. Also, if you guys want to send me anything on Twitter, as far as like what you got from this channel or anything that I helped you, do better, or a specific instance where it made an impact to your roster and you won money this year, I'd be more than happy to share those stories as well on a video as well. So we got a lot of stuff brewing. We're going to be doing one video a week in the off season. It's probably going to be on Saturdays, just because there's not going to be football to watch during the week. But yeah, we'll go from there. Subscribe to the channel. Good luck in Week 17 if you're playing, and I will see you soon.